God is dead, God remains dead, and we have killed him. Friedrich Nietzsche wrote that in 1882, and everyone misunderstood it. Atheists thought he was celebrating. He wasn't. Christians thought he was attacking them. He wasn't. He was delivering a warning, a prophecy, about what happens when the thing that gave civilization meaning disappears, when the foundation cracks, when the center cannot hold, when everything you built your life on turns out to be gone, and you don't even realize it yet. Nietzsche saw it coming, the collapse, the abyss, and we're living in it. You feel it, even if you don't have a name for it. This is what God is dead actually means, and why it's more terrifying than you think. First, let's clear up what Nietzsche was not saying. He wasn't saying God never existed. He wasn't making an atheist argument. He wasn't debating theology. Nietzsche didn't care if God exists. He cared about what happens when people stop believing God exists. And in 1882, he looked at Europe and saw they've stopped believing. Not loudly, not dramatically, quietly. Churches still stood. People still went to Mass. They still said prayers, but they didn't believe it anymore. Not really. Science had replaced miracles. Reason had replaced revelation. Progress had replaced salvation. God wasn't struck down by lightning. God just faded, became irrelevant. And Nietzsche realized, if God is gone, then everything that depended on God is gone too. Morality, meaning, purpose, truth, all of it was built on a foundation, and the foundation just crumbled. This wasn't good news. This was a catastrophe, and nobody seemed to notice. To show what he meant, Nietzsche told a story, a parable, the Madman. A man runs into a crowded marketplace, in the middle of the day, carrying a lantern. He's searching for something, frantic, desperate. "I seek God! I seek God!" he shouts. The crowd, atheists, rationalists, modern people, they laugh. Did God get lost? Is he afraid of us? Did he take a voyage? Or emigrate? They mock him, because to them, God is already gone, and good riddance. The madman stops, stares at them, and then he speaks. "Where is God? I will tell you. We have killed him. You and I. All of us are his murderers. But how did we do this? How could we drink up the sea? Who gave us the sponge to wipe away the entire horizon? What were we doing when we unchained this earth from its sun?" Stop. Listen to the metaphor. God wasn't just a belief. God was the sun, the thing that gave light, warmth, direction, gravity, the thing everything orbited around. And we unchained the earth from its sun. We're floating now, untethered, in infinite space. No up, no down, no direction, no center, just the abyss. The madman continues. Do we not feel the breath of empty space? Has it not become colder? Is not night continually closing in on us? Do we not need to light lanterns in the morning? That's why he carries a lantern, in broad daylight, because the real sun, the source of light and meaning, is gone, and we're standing in darkness, pretending it's still day. The crowd doesn't understand. They think he's insane, and the madman realizes he's come too early. This tremendous event is still on its way. It has not yet reached the ears of men. Lightning and thunder require time. The light of the stars requires time. Deeds require time, even after they are done, before they can be seen and heard. He throws down the lantern. It shatters. I have come too early. My time is not yet. And here's the thing. Nietzsche wrote this in 1882. The crowd didn't understand then. They thought God's death was liberation, freedom, progress. But Nietzsche knew the consequences were coming, and he was right. This isn't just philosophy. This is the psychological condition of the modern world. So what actually dies when God dies? Not just a belief, an entire framework. For 1,000 years, God was the answer to every question that mattered. Morality? God decided what's good and evil, right and wrong, just and unjust. The 10 Commandments weren't suggestions, they were divine law. Morality had a foundation, an authority, a source. But if God is dead, where does morality come from? Human opinion? Cultural preference? Evolutionary instinct? And if it's just opinion, then what makes murder wrong? Why is kindness good? You can't just say, because God said so, anymore. So what do you say? Nietzsche saw this coming. The moment people stopped believing in God, they lost the foundation for their morality. But they kept acting like the foundation was still there, still saying murder is wrong without being able to explain why, still claiming justice without a cosmic judge. Morality became a ghost, a shadow of something that used to be real. Meaning? Christianity gave life a purpose. You were here to serve God, to save your soul, to earn salvation. Suffering had meaning. It was a test, a trial, part of God's plan. Death had meaning. It was a doorway to eternity. Your life mattered because it mattered to God. But if God is dead, then why are you here? No cosmic purpose, no divine plan, no salvation waiting, just existence, temporary, arbitrary, pointless. You're born, you live, you die, and then nothing. Nietzsche asked, if there's no God, why does anything matter? And the answer most people gave was, it doesn't. But let's pretend it does. Truth? For centuries, truth was guaranteed by God. God created the universe, designed it with order, logic, reason. Science worked because God made a rational world. Mathematics worked because God was the ultimate mathematician. Truth existed because God was truth. But if God is dead, what guarantees truth? Maybe there is no truth, just perspectives, interpretations, power struggles. Nietzsche saw this too. The death of God leads to the death of objective truth. And once truth dies, everything becomes negotiable. So when God dies, 3 things collapse: morality, meaning, truth. The entire structure that Western civilization was built on. And Nietzsche watched his generation kill God and then act like nothing had changed. Still going to church on Sunday, still talking about good and evil, still claiming life has meaning. But the foundation was gone. They were living in a house with no floor and pretending they weren't falling. Nietzsche saw 2 possible responses to God's death, 2 paths humanity could take. Path 1, the last man. Comfort, safety, pleasure, entertainment. We have invented happiness, says the last man, and blinks. He doesn't need God. He replaced meaning with stimulation, silence with noise, purpose with endless consumption. He doesn't need meaning, he has distraction. He doesn't need truth, he has his truth. Small pleasures, no suffering, no greatness, no risk. The last man is what happens when people accept that nothing matters and choose comfort anyway. Nietzsche called this the most contemptible thing, not because comfort is bad, but because it's the response of someone who's given up, who's accepted meaninglessness and decided, might as well be comfortable while we wait to die. This is nihilism, not the dramatic kind, the quiet kind, the kind that scrolls, that consumes, that never asks why. Path 2, the Übermensch, Nietzsche's alternative. If God is dead and there's no cosmic meaning, then create meaning. If there's no divine morality, then create values. If truth is dead, then build something worth calling true. The Übermensch doesn't mourn God's death. He accepts it, and then he does what humanity has always done when faced with the abyss. He builds, not because a God commanded it, because he chose it. This is what Nietzsche meant by revaluation of all values. Stop pretending the old values still work. They don't. The foundation is gone, so build new ones, consciously, deliberately, honestly. Don't mourn the death of God. Use it as an opportunity to become who you actually are, not what God wanted, not what society wants, not what's comfortable, but what you choose, freely, fully, without excuses. Nietzsche didn't know if humanity would choose the last man or the Übermensch, but he feared we'd choose comfort. And so far, he's been right.
Nietzsche wrote God is Dead in 1882. And the 20th century proved him right. 2 world wars, massacres, Stalin, Mao, atomic bombs. The death of God didn't lead to enlightenment, it led to catastrophe. Because when you remove the foundation, when you kill God, you don't automatically get something better. You get chaos, a void, and people will fill that void with anything. Nationalism, ideology, power, nihilism. Nietzsche saw it coming. What were we doing when we unchained this earth from its sun? We were creating the conditions for the 20th century. And now? Now we're living in the aftermath. Post-religious, post-truth, post-meaning. We don't believe in God, but we still want the things God used to provide. Meaning, morality, purpose, certainty. So we invent substitutes, ideologies that promise salvation, causes that give life meaning, tribes that provide identity. We're still looking for the sun, for the center, for something to orbit around. But there's nothing there, and we know it. Deep down, we know. That's why we're anxious, depressed, drifting. Not because life is hard, because life feels empty. We killed God, and we still don't know what to do about it. The madman was right. He came too early. In 1882, people weren't ready to hear it. But now? Now we understand. We feel the cold, the darkness, the abyss. We're the generation the madman was warning. And the question is, what do we do now? God is Dead isn't a statement about religion. It's a statement about civilization, about what happens when the thing that gave life structure, meaning, and direction disappears. Nietzsche wasn't celebrating. He was terrified, because he knew humanity isn't ready for this. We killed God, but we're still acting like he's alive, still appealing to morality without a moral foundation, still searching for meaning in a meaningless universe, still demanding truth in a world that has no guarantees. And Nietzsche's warning was this: you can't live in the gap forever. You can't kill God and then pretend nothing's changed. Eventually, you have to choose. The last man. Comfort, distraction, slow decline into meaninglessness. Or the Übermensch. Creation, struggle, building meaning from the abyss. Nietzsche didn't tell you which to choose. He just told you the choice is coming, and you can't avoid it. So here's the question he leaves you with. God is dead. The sun is gone. The earth is unchained. What are you going to do about it? Are you going to mourn what's lost, or build something new? Because one way or another, you're standing in the darkness now. The only question is whether you're going to light a lantern, or just wait for the cold to take you.